My motto is to give back to society, create awareness on various platforms, taking video podcasts of industry experts. I just want people to reach to correct people, especially doctors. I want people to get healed. Would you watch your content after 50 years or after 20 years, after 10 years? Would you do that? Would you cringe or would you really like to forward your content to someone?
Welcome to Stories and Stanza, a weekly podcast bringing you real stories from creators and speakers around the world. Hi Neha, welcome to Stories and Stanza. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you, Abhra, for having me over.
Thanks for making the time, and it's always interesting to work with time differences. And luckily, I find that our difference is not so much. I find that Australia is in such a time zone that you can virtually work with anyone else in the world based on like different times of the day. I find that very suitable. Before we get started, could you tell us briefly about yourself?
Yes, hi. So my name is Neha, and I have my own YouTube channel called Creative Space. My motto is to give back to society, create awareness on various platforms, taking video podcasts of industry experts. So far, I have done around 200 videos plus over the span of 3 to 4 years now. And yeah, it's been quite satisfying and fulfilling. And I'm a homemaker and I'm a mother. So yeah, everything I'm juggling between different arenas currently.
That is fantastic. On Stories and Stanza, I try to connect with fellow creators, speakers, writers, and it is a very fulfilling experience. It has helped feel that enrichment and that deep sense of satisfaction when I connect with the people and hear about their visions, their work, and how they're making a difference. So, in this particular area, I call this fail with me. It has a little bit of sarcastic tone in it. Of course, I don't wish anyone failure. It is to unpick failure. It is to understand what are the learnings. When I speak to a guest, I try to understand their story and learn from it. So it's not in any negative sense by any chance. It's just to unpack what is underneath failure. So, first thing I wanted to ask you is how do you feel about that concept? Does it resonate with you?
The concept that you have started is really very good. Because generally, globally, I feel that people, after talking about their challenges, their hardships, their journeys, there is a sense of healing, that happens. So the concept that you have started is unique, and I would only wish the best for you. And I hope you get more and more people understand their journey, and it will help them to heal themselves. So yeah, this is what I feel.
Thank you. The way this idea came to me was both me and my wife, we were having a couple of bad years. And when we came out of it, I started thinking and reflecting back on that period and say that if I had to write a memoir, I can never say that succeed with me because there are so many failures. But then I
Yeah.
realized we probably succeed as many times as we fail. So that's how that title got stuck. So, for our audience, as a speaker, as a content creator, can you share some of the challenges that you have encountered in your life?
Um, Now I will talk for my YouTube journey. Having a career into corporate for many years, being in MNC for many years. After COVID, being at home, handling the family life, is in itself a very different phase I think everybody went through. During that time, it was difficult to go out and work with a kid, right? I mean, if you are in a nuclear family. So, for me, the thought of not doing anything and being at home was a challenge in itself because, your mind gets tuned but to work in a certain way, to be productive, to use your skills for many reasons. So, for me to completely change the field and do something what I'm doing now, the thought, the execution was a challenge to do or not to do, whether it would happen, how would people perceive it, what exactly would I do, I really want to do. That was a challenge, and it needed a lot of planning in my head, first of all. And then, yes, once you start your journey, there are definitely some other challenges which we would, I think, talk in general ahead also, like how to reach out to people, what are the policies in the background, doing everything on your own, understanding on your own. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So those are the challenges I think we even face today.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah. So the start, the planning, the execution to doing what now, what next also is a challenge. There are the highs, there are lows. So yeah, you try to overcome, you understand, you take your time.
Yes. I mean, COVID has been like really, really difficult, especially in Melbourne compared to other areas in Australia, because we had one of the like strictest lockdowns. We couldn't go out, we couldn't go to work, see friends, and all that. It just disrupted everything. So I'm glad to hear that it was a interesting new beginning for you amidst all the challenges. So before we proceed further, could you tell our audience about your YouTube channel? What is the channel called? What is it about? And what is the theme? A little bit in details.
Yeah, sure. So as I said, my channel's name is Creative Space with a smiley. It's a smiley because there would be many creative spaces, but I wanted to add a smile at the end of my channel. The reason being, I wanted to have something substantial for people out there, which will stay with them forever. Hence, I started Creative Space. It started with me sketching certain known people in different industries, then doing an edutainment playlist for all the young kids, and then eventually I wanted to grow my channel. Um, COVID taught me one thing: there was very little help available, and also there are many people out there who do not know about various industries. Like if somebody is going through depression, so whom to really approach? Um, Having everything on Google doesn't really help because you do not connect a one to one. You are not, in a one on one conversation with people. So on my podcast, on my channel, there are artists, there are therapists, there are celebrities from India, there are doctors. Like there is a gynecologist, there is a urologist, there is an asthma doctor. I have targeted many doctors. So you understand there are more than 150 industries or more than 100, industries that I've already targeted, or somebody who wants to go into game designing. So my motto is to connect the industry experts, the common man, to a common man, and directly ask the industry experts, give my references, directly talk to them. And this is my way of giving back to society. And I hope it helps few people, some people out there. So that is what I'm trying to do.
That is such a great thing to hear, that you are giving back to society and you are having that pool of resources, making it available to someone who need this. And I
Yeah.
think that is how the podcasts create a very important support space in creativity, in inspiration, motivation, health, wellness. I find that very interesting. When I created Fail With Me, I thought that it is going to be my own story, my memoir. But when others heard the concept, they came forward and they said, "Do you want to come here and talk about that?" And I got different perspectives that I didn't think about on day one. I think it's very enriching experience. So let's hear a little bit more from you on your creative side of things. So you said that you started in the middle of COVID and that restrictions, those were your starting point. But from a creative side of things, what was your inspiration?
So it just clicked. I mean, I gave it a lot of thought. Um, I always loved painting, sketching, drawing. Okay, that was my hobby. When I was at home, I started sketching. People started asking me, would you teach us or are there any tutorials available? So I said, I mean, you can't really teach during COVID times, like, sitting at home. So I thought, let me just do something online. That is what inspired me to do it. And taking interviews eventually happened. It clicked me. It just came, I think. And that is how it started.
That's wonderful. So it was supposed to happen, I guess. It was very natural. I hesitated a long time before starting a podcast.
Yes. Yes,
And
definitely. That you have to go through that journey.
yes,
I think every podcaster goes through that journey because it's still a new arena. It's
yeah.
still a new. There are many podcasters out there, but people who have been into corporate and people are already doing a job for starting this.
Hmm.
It is a very new arena, and you.
I remember, like, I used to create short poetry readings, like
Uh,
1 minute, 2 minute, and I used to post that. And some of my friends listened to it and said, "Why don't you start a podcast?" And I said, "Who will listen to my podcast?"
yeah, that is there. Of course, even we think today. Even I
Yes.
think today. I hope people see even today.
Yeah. That's how it got started, but it was supposed to happen. That's why we are
Yeah.
talking today. Can you take us through about your content creation process from the ideation that, okay, this is what I want to cover? And like you said, you have worked with so many industry sectors, so many specialists, doctors, etc., and then executing that. What is your process? What are the things that we can learn from you?
So, most of my industry experts are through word of mouth, via someone, because these are the common people like you and me who want to make a difference for the people, who are completely approachable. So, it's firstly word of mouth, and secondly through various social media channels, Instagram. Some people are open to, reciprocate. So what I do is I generally just put in a message that this is what I'm doing, and your industry seems interesting, and I haven't covered. So I generally do not tend to repeat the same industry. I always target a new industry. Probably it can be a part two, then there can be a repetition. So that is my one process, and then after a brief call, I jot down the questions from a layman point of view. What a general person would like to hear for beginners if they want to enter the particular industry or would like to know more about it. So that is how it is. And then the industry experts proofreads it once. And then I do a Zoom call with them, post and I do the editing. And the USP of my channel, I think there are two USP of my channels. One, the common people can approach the common people who are the industry experts. If there is a job opportunity, they can directly again this thing approach them. And thirdly, as a thank you gesture, I sketch all my industry experts. So it's a memory for them. I think there are very little podcasters out there who hand sketch their industry experts. And yeah, once that is done, I only do the editing. I am the editing. I am a hairdresser. I am a makeup artist. I am my PR agency. I am a marketing person. I handle my YouTube channel and I put it out there. And yeah, that is how the videos are uploaded.
That's wonderful. And
How do we do it? How do you do it, Abra? If I may ask.
yeah, definitely. I am a writer. I have published two poetry collections so far. What I found that it's very hard to market your own work. So I am an
Mm-hmm.
independently published author. So I didn't go through a traditional publisher. I published my own book, and it's very straightforward to do that in Australia at least. If you have an idea, then you can like digitally publish it, both print and ebook. Both you can publish across the world. So that was my starting point, and I realized it's very hard to market your own work. And I noticed that there were a lot of other independently published authors who go through the same cycle. Then I realized that if I create a pod where people can come and talk about their books, their creative projects, then that they can share that to others. So They come to my podcast and then say, this is the book either I have published or I'm writing or it is about to be published. And this is a synopsis of the book, and they read something from the book. The
Ah,
listeners, they get a feel that, okay, so this is how that book is structured. Okay. And they get hooked onto the idea. Maybe then we should get this book. So that's how I got started.
all right. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great.
How do you interact with your audience? For example, do you use live streams or events? Is there any best practice that you can suggest in that area?
So, as I mentioned earlier, I do a Zoom call.
Yeah,
It's a Zoom call because I need to do the editing,
yeah.
because I also need to upload the sketches for that. So, it's not a live stream. Either it is I go there meet personally,
Hmm,
if it is possible during certain occasions, or
hmm.
else it is a Zoom call because I have to handle the house
Yes.
and yeah, my kid, her
Yeah.
timings.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that is, yeah, these are the only two ways I am right now. I mean, that was working for me, I would say.
Right, that's very good. I have tried doing some live streams, and if it is an audio only show, you can let somebody call into that show. It gives you that
Right.
radio feeling. I found that very interesting. Let's talk about growth and engagement in that space. So, you said you are doing everything on your own. So, you're wearing multiple hats and organizing, editing, lighting. A lot of things come into play. I want to hear from you how being a YouTuber has changed you personally and professionally.
Okay. So, personally and professionally, for a YouTuber goes hand in hand. You get to know about so many industries. You have to work on the time management aspect, right? You need to check the industry experts' timings, and you have to accordingly schedule your day accordingly. So that is one thing. The other thing is, of course, you get to know about industries. If there are certain people out there, you can direct those people and help them out. So the sense of satisfaction actually really lies for me in helping people. So this is only growing over the years, and that is what is, I think, keeping me motivated enough to go ahead. So this is what I have learned personally and professionally, I would say, getting to know about the industries, helping people, the sense of satisfaction. Yeah.
Uh, have you monetized your channel?
Yeah. So for in the back end, your channel gets monetized. As you would know, probably when you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, that is
Hmm.
what when I had started, it was like that. So that happened in the first year itself for me. And now you need to reach a certain number of hours and views for it to really come to your plate. So that is on the verge of coming on the plate. I have 1 lakh plus views for my channel overall and certain subscribers. But yeah, I'm getting there. Let's see.
That's wonderful. When someone is starting out now, what can they take away from your experience?
Yeah. So one thing I would, not one thing, there are a couple of things that, they can learn. Firstly, understand all the policies
Hmm.
because YouTube keep changing their policies. It is very much required to be updated.
Hmm.
That is one thing. Secondly, is when you run a campaign for yourself, being a YouTuber at the background, I have gone through all that you tend to do mistakes seeing the normal YouTubers, sharing certain things online. Sometimes they work, sometimes they do not. So before investing your money for running a campaign, be very, very sure of what you're actually doing. Is it really, I mean, there are many filters, there are many options available for running a campaign in a background to, I think, to elevate your channel, but it is very, very tricky. There are hundreds of videos for that, but you need to really see which one are the fake ones and which one are the real ones. So that is one thing that I would strongly recommend because I have done mistakes, and money is important. So you please keep this in mind: the policies and the campaigning part of the YouTube channel in the back end.
Does YouTube like keep changing this from time to time? I'm not that
Yeah, there are
familiar.
certain policies. Yeah, there are certain policies that keep on upgrade. They keep on updating, upgrading. When I started, there was no concept of shorts or community. Now it is very much in place. So what really works? What audience wants to see? Keep updating yourself. Of course, you will get the notifications, but keep updating. Try to work accordingly.
Mm,
Put correct keywords. Keywords are important.
mm,
Suppose you're taking an interview of a doctor, so put keywords like doctor, which specific area, patients. Generally, example I'm giving. So those also work. Be consistent. Not always you can be consistent, because for me, it all depends on the industry expert's time frame.
mm.
So I try to be consistent. Like suppose if you're putting out a video on Saturday, so the next Saturday has to be another video. It's like next Saturday has to be another video. So that also I think YouTube recognizes, and they also try to push from their end. So that works.
Right.
It's very tricky. I'm telling you, it's very tricky.
It is.
Sometimes I'll have a lot of videos, sometimes no videos, but I am also telling from a semi-beginner's point of view. So I hope these tips help people.
Yeah. I didn't know about this at all. So when I started, I used to publish episodes randomly here and there. Whenever I recorded, I'll
Hmm.
publish. But gradually, I have streamlined that, and I stick to one episode per week. That's it.
Yeah.
And now that I am in YouTube as well. So just started, but now that I'm here, so I have to kind of need to adhere to all of that. You have to create your thumbnail. You have to make sure that you have
Yeah.
all the ACO side of things, which is a little bit overwhelming because
Yes.
those are not part of audio podcasts. This is a video only thing. It's if you
And it's very time consuming.
It is
It's
very
very
time
time
consuming.
consuming process to put out a video, working on a thumbnail, editing, the planning, what color, everything, the editing
Mm.
part of it, the putting the song, music behind, everything it's very time consuming. So the more policies come, or the more new things you have to, keep yourself updated. It's quite overwhelming. You're absolutely correct.
Yes. And how do you see that in the podcast space? There are many other content creators as well, right? And there are travel logs, there are vlog
Yeah,
style videos and comedies and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
films and things like that. How do you stand out in that crowd? What is your USP that you have followed so far in growing
See,
the channel?
yeah. So everybody is working on their strengths. I am working on my strength. I know I am a good communicator. As I said earlier, I sketch the industry experts. It makes them happy. It is for the society. It is in kind. How many podcast people are there, or podcasters are there who really are targeting the common people, reach common people? Yes, there are travel blogs. That is their strength. Yes, there are other stand-up comedies. That is their strength. I am not here. When I started my channel, it was nothing like where I will stand, what is my uniqueness. I did not start for that. My motto was very clear. I want to do something for the society. It was very, very clear. So I'm nowhere in competition with anyone. I just want people to reach to correct people, especially doctors. I want people to get healed. So yeah, that is my uniqueness again, I would say.
No, that is very heartwarming to hear what you said, and that is kind of a self respect that the way you carry that in your channel and the ideas that you have shaped so far. So, in terms of working with guests, how do you make sure that you have a consistency and quality towards your production? I'll tell you the reason why I'm asking that question. A lot of times people approach me that I want to be on your podcast, and then I notice that they want to be on a podcast, but they're not good speakers. I struggle there a little bit navigating through that episode. So sometimes there are writers, but not necessarily a good speaker. But
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes writers are very good speakers, but sometimes they are not. So just giving you an example. So how do you navigate some of those challenges, especially when it is a video podcast?
yeah, yeah. So of course there are people with different kind of nature. The only thing I think that works is talking about their content, right? When you talk about a person's interest and their content, they can talk ample. You need to specifically, correctly put the questions correctly. That's why it is important to stick to the questions, because for people who are introvert, they prepare themselves as per the questions, and then they have lengthy answers to talk to you. Then they can be good speakers because that is their area of interest. If you meet introvert people in a gathering, they will not talk. But if you talk to them in a particular on their skill set, any person would talk, even if the person is introvert, on their skill set. So it's very important to stick to the questions because they are prepared accordingly. So that is the only thing that is what I have learned, and that is what I have learned.
Yeah, I was talking to a speech therapist a couple of weeks ago on my podcast, and she mentioned the same thing. Like a lot of people find that, I am not a good speaker, and they have that hesitation on and things like that. She actually professionally helps people overcome their fear, public speaking, stage fright, that sort of thing. And she mentioned in 95% of cases, a good speech is a well prepared speech. So
Yes.
if you let people prepare, if you let people work on their forte, then that's the crux of it, I guess, of a good communication. So I find it interesting that we kind of touched upon the same subject.
Yeah, because I have interviewed lot of people. See,
Hmm.
so this is my personal experience,
Hmm.
right? And you have friends, who sometimes are very talkative, sometimes who are introvert. Then how do you communicate? It's very basic human nature. You talk to them about their liking.
Hmm.
It's very basic. So yeah.
It is definitely a very helpful advice. And I remember in the initial days, I had sort of an arc in mind for the interview, that I'll start here, I'll go here, and this is on the note I will end. But later, I realized that it is better to let the guest decide what that arc is going to look like. What is that path going to look like? And then I started getting better and better at
Yeah.
interviewing people. So yeah, absolutely, I totally understand where you're coming from. So we were talking about like ideas for someone getting started into the YouTube journey, and then we talked about the best practices as in the marketing side of things, understanding the rules and regulations, and then the consistency, and now the speaking and the subjects. Is there anything that you would like to cover in that spectrum? What would you like to say to someone wanting to get started on YouTube? We talked about these areas. Other than that, have
Yeah,
I
yeah.
missed anything?
Yeah, so I think to conclude, I would like to say that YouTube is a very good weapon to help people and to bring out many good things for them. Every person has also a good quality. If if a beginner is starting something, um, make sure that your content is sustainable even after 50 years, because that that is something that even your next generation will take them for you. So if you, I mean, that is my thinking, and that is what I wish, and that is what I believe in. So do something which is substantial, and I mean, yeah, there are fun, like be funny also. We would like to see fun content, but without insulting people. You know, you you can really motivate people, inspire people, help people, make them laugh. So many things. So just keep that in mind, whatever you're doing. Would you watch your content after 50 years or after 20 years, after 10 years? Would you do that? Would you cringe or would you really like to forward your content to someone else? So that is what I would like to convey to people.
That is very beautifully said. That is, you are your own competition.
Yeah, yeah,
I
absolutely.
guess yes. I think we have covered some interesting aspects in your YouTube journey. I really liked how you give your guests a personal touch with the gifts and the drawings, and that is something treasured that will always stay with them. That is really really special, and how you have maintained your consistency, how you have worked with people, how you are helping people. I think that it's a cultural footprint of time, as in we are all in this together and we are helping one another out, and that is a very strong message that we need to give back to the society. Is there anything else you'd like to share to our audience here on Stories and Stanza?
I would like to say, please subscribe to Abraz and my YouTube channel. We are doing something good for the people. We are trying to do something unique, something nice for you guys. And I would wish Stories and Stanzas best of luck with lot of success and lot of interesting people come on your podcast, Abra. So great and good luck.
Thank you so much. You are an absolute delight to speak to, and thank you once again for taking the time to come and talk to me on Stories and Stanza on a Friday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
See you.
Bye bye.